we're breaking the ice now. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that
now we get to see y'all.
Yeah, I'm glad everyone was able to like provide some type of
Thank
input.
you.
Thank you all, honestly. So I'm just gonna go on to the next topic, which is content creation. So it just seems like right now self-promotion just isn't the best thing to do. So everybody's trying to figure out how to go about it because people are telling us to read the room. So the question is, how can content creators adapt their content to spread awareness during this time? And I'm just gonna direct this question to you, Moms in India.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So we come from Better ATL. We're a media company. We're mostly on Instagram. If you don't follow us, I know it's a bad time for self-promotion, but Better ATL on Instagram. We also just started a text line to share resources for protesting and political activism right now. I think it's worth mentioning, obviously, in terms of like personal accounts, we can only talk about how white people can use their personal accounts right now, which for us means not really publishing anything and trying to uplift the voices of other people.
Just for context, we are having a diverse team, so our content strategy for Butter right now is heavily influenced by our Black leadership. First off, we really pay attention to the conversation. We think it's really important just to see what everybody else is talking about, what's important to, especially Atlanta in general. Those are the people that we're following, those are the people we're trying to talk to. And figuring out when to tap into that conversation when it's appropriate. It's really important to bring value right now. I think there will definitely be a time for like levity and like humor, but right now we really need to address the situation at hand really seriously, obviously, because it's so serious. And kind of decreasing the amount of content that we're putting out, especially to amplify other voices, other perspectives, and really just kind of sticking to more utilitarian content. We've been doing a lot of like protesters' rights and how to protest. And again, our text line has been putting out a lot of like where to protest ideas. We're utilizing a lot of existing resources. It's super saturated right now, how we can help, how we can be the right kind of ally. So we're kind of curating that more than creating it ourselves, bringing certain things to the forefront, providing that to our followers. We're trying to distill that into actionable steps for our community. Somebody responded to one of our stories and they said we're giving them spoon-fed activism, which I thought was really good because it's just about removing barriers of how you can get involved and what's important to get involved in. We're actually been posting.
Yeah, so we haven't been posting much, like I said, but what we have been posting is really trying to, like India said, remove barriers. And as a media company, we do have a certain amount of liability, like publishing information about protests, because we can't guarantee everyone's safety, and we don't want to put anyone in a position to get arrested or anything. So all of that information that we put out has been more uplifting other resources and encouraging people to be safe and sharing information about how they can be safe. But in addition to that, we've also been focusing hugely on voting and local political activism. So sharing, ready-to-go email templates, information about budget meetings, all the things that we as local citizens can do to make sure that we're not going through all of this for nothing, especially on an Atlanta scale. And we're trying to remove barriers, and social media right now is so saturated with resources that we have not had to look far, so it's mostly about finding good information and distilling it, putting it right in people's hands so that they can just put their name in an email and send it out, or text their city council representative, find their voting place, make sure they're registered, all that.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to add? Is anybody struggling as a content creator during this time? Okay, I'm I know somebody feel me right now, so we can just go around. Yeah.
No, I work for a business company, and I've noticed that I've just been so frustrated because we are Black owned, and we haven't taken the initiative to make a stance. And I think it's because of money. We have a lot of brands that participated in, have a huge influence on our brand, and I've just been struggling with staying there. and speaking up and being the one to be the voice to say, it's our job to make a stand because we profit from young Black artists. So we have to speak up for them. And I feel like I'm tired of leaning on big corporations to do the job. And I think that our platform, whether we have 1,000 or 200, we all have to say something because someone is watching. And we need to stop counting on them. Our voice is a voice. It's not. We give them the voice.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That was great.
My question was just like, I have an independent program with one of my brothers, and like with everything going on, it's just like, how do we balance like promoting my brand because it's just like my livelihood and how I'm trying to make money, and then with just like trying to help with everything going on in the world right now.
I feel like I have an answer.
Oh, great.
All right. So I am in the same situation as you, but I own a body butter line. I think what has helped me personally is understanding how you want it to feel. So what kind of jargon you use, is it corporate or is it your own? If it's your own, then you can use your voice the same way there as you would with like your group of friends, right? So I think understanding that and that it doesn't always have to be formal and corporate, it can be who you are because it is who you are.
I love that. Yeah, I think we were actually just talking about, like, okay, how are we going to just like help out our Girlfriend's television feed and still, stay up with what's going on? And our theme is really just like more so throwback, like 90s, late 2000s, like, aesthetic and stuff. And we were just like, wait, we can still pull up some Black Panther pictures and we can still connect what's going on to our feed and our page, So I think it's just about finding that balance and just connecting whatever you do and just connect it back. And this actually can just like go straight into the conversation of just how you can play your part, So, for example, if you're a photographer, go out there and take some pictures, document this. We're living in history right now, so you don't have to post it. That's just social media. You don't have to post it, but you're doing something to help out. If you're the ones that like to be on the front lines, go on the front lines, that's totally fine. Me personally, I'm a talker, I like to bring people together. So this is my version of playing my position. So it just depends if you're a graphic designer, I don't know, make some flyers, like make memorable things of what's going on right now. But does anyone else feel like they're struggling with just like their brand or anything going on versus like, what's going on right now?
I like to add my 2 cents. But I think one thing that I haven't necessarily even been struggling with posting content. I am also a content creator myself. I do natural hair content and like beauty blogging and stuff like that. But I've also been very adamant since I started my brand to amplify Black voices and just to amplify Black beauty. So one thing that I found myself doing was being more intentional with my posts. I think a lot of the problem with social media is that a lot of it is ego-based. So we feel like we internalize so much of other people's opinions about how we may live our lifestyles or how we may view anything. And it's getting to a point where people, it's a comparison thing. And I think that it should just go back to the nitty-gritty of things and realizing that you're posting this content because it's something that you like to do, something that you're passionate about. So I've been intentional. So it's not only are we dealing with, all these different injustices, like it's Pride Month, there's so much other stuff we can do. So what I've been doing on my personal accounts, I've been dropping links so people can donate. I've been taking names so people can, if they have individual cash apps or anything like that, like donate there. If you want to make a change, try to help. There's people locally that you can help. You never know. Like I go on my Twitter, my Instagram, I ask people questions. I'm like, who has Black-owned businesses that I can support? Whether I can put it on my page or anything like that. So I'm just like, if I can use a little bit of followers that I have to make or bring notice to anybody's struggles or lifestyles so we can all move forward, then I'll do that. So it's just about, I don't even care about being relevant right now. I want to make sure that we're all shining a light on what's going on because there's too much going on. One day it's a Black man being killed, it's a woman, it's a child, it's a trans person. You know what I'm saying? Like this is ridiculous. Trans women, trans men are dying at, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so we've already had multiple deaths in 3 weeks. so many different faces, so many different peoples from each walk of these communities. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I'm just like, we need to bring, attention and light to everybody's struggle, because it's not just us, people who look like us, who are walking out there. They have individual identities that they have to go home to after this. So we need to make sure that we're moving forward for a human effort, because we all, affect each other every day. So I'm just posting them links, signing petitions, all that.
Hi, I'm Mercedes. I work for a digital marketing agency, Black-owned. And one of the jobs I do is part of my job. We do a lot of strategic planning for our clients. And one of the conversations we were having when Corona first happened was, how do we phase out of it? Not necessarily like that, because it's going to be a problem. But this is different. Black Lives Matter is a different thing, because when it isn't as on the forefront of social media and advertising, Black lives still matter. It just depends on where we are. So I was just wondering if anybody has thought about what that phase of going back to your normal content per se, what that looks like.
And I feel like we got to start a movement where we encourage Black colleges to our students, not as a last option, but as the first option. That I feel like that encouragement has to start with our community, and it has to build outward.
I'm gonna take the mic so good. But yeah, as we're going to the young lady, we definitely have to give the same energy to our schools like we do Auburn and Georgia and all those schools. Like we have to give that same energy. Yeah, because Auburn, all those schools, Georgia, it's just the community who brings those schools together, and that's how, So if we have that same energy with our HBCUs, I feel like we can be on that D1 level or whatever level those schools are. But go ahead.
I worked in Heritage Elementary my first year in College Park, and this is my second year. I had first grade boys and first grade girls. Out of the boys, I had 10 boys. 7 of them were Black American, and the other 3 were African. They're first generation, in America, but their families are African. All of my Black American boys said they want to be either a basketball player or a rapper. Not saying there's anything wrong being artistic, but I think that's really all they have an idea of success. But the same age, my African students, doctor, engineer, lawyer. Those are literally the 3 options. And even if their parents were taxi drivers or their moms braided hair, they were pushing something in their kids. They're exposing them to certain things, and people may have their issues or their opinions about, let kids do what they want, but expose them to as much as possible. Expose them to positive things, because they're gonna get the negative, in music and TV and media and how we are portrayed as Black people on a global scale. So yeah.
And a lot of teachers will put up, especially first year teachers will put up, let me give you an example. So when I worked at Brown, I had no books. I was a reading teacher. So how am I supposed to teach kids to read with no books? So you can get on Donors Choose and actually put money towards funding a teacher's classroom. So little things like that can definitely help as well.
Just so we can start, talking about ways that we can change, our judicial system as well. Go ahead, Brian.
Absolutely. I want to address something that Ms. Reed actually said a little earlier, because I think that is the first step. You mentioned locking in with your elders, whether it's your grandparents or your parents. I think she just gave us an example of why, again, when she spoke to me first time and when she spoke just then, they've been through this, and as a child of the struggle. My father is a H.Rap Brownie Matthew Mill from the West End community, and he's been incarcerated for the last 20 years for a crime he didn't commit because he's an enemy of the state. When I say didn't commit, it's not like, free my dog, he didn't do it. It's like there's a dude in Florida right now who's written an affidavit saying I committed that crime, and the federal government said, well, now you have a gag order on you because we have what we want. So, I've locked in with him, and I've been fighting his fight for so long that have an understanding of struggle, and so we have to relearn resistance. That's step one. We also allow them to dictate kind of how we protest, and that's no longer a protest. That becomes a sanctioned demonstration.
Yep.
A protest is in defiance of the people that you're protesting. So an example back in the day, for instance, is they told us we couldn't eat at the same counters as white people. The peaceful version of that protest was eating at the counters where the white people were. The violent protest, I wouldn't call it violent when you destroy property, but the violent part of the protest is burning down those establishments. So everyone has a role. I know we've been online arguing with each other whether riots and things are good, bad, or whatever, but we're one of the meekest people on the planet. We're protesting being murdered in the streets, and the only thing that's happening is properties are being messed up. Like, that's tame.
Yeah.
But we can't be online arguing with each other about whether that's necessary or not because it's necessary.
Yes.
We're on every channel in America right now, not because we're walking up and down the streets they tell us to at the times they tell us to.
Yeah.
It's because people's stuff got fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we're on the news.
Yes.
And so now that that's been accomplished, it's not necessary anymore. Like, we don't have to continue doing it. If it was necessary, then salute to the people who did it. Because everybody can't play that role. In fact, we were supposed to be there to support them. These folks locked up right now, these 267 people, are supposed to be a bail fund in line for them so that the protest can continue. They got to come back out and continue to do their work.
Yeah.
Like she was saying, everybody do your work in your space. There's some folks out here that's in these streets, period. Whether it's a protest, they looting because it's an opportunity, but they would have been robbing us. Like, this is what they do. So it's cool that they focused it on what they did. So now, it is time to start discussing. It is time to start, discussing solutions and things like that because we have the attention. But we had to get the attention first. So don't have that argument no more on social media. People say rioting is wrong. We agree we want it to stop too. So stop doing the shit that made us do it.
Exactly.
That's what you have to get to. Because think of the picture we're seeing. We're rioting or protesting against the police, and the police are in line with riot gear on.
Yeah.
That's who that's literally that's the shit that we mad at. Like, that's not going it's going to continue to be adversarial.
Yep.
And so when we start to talk about how do we change the judicial system, the system that's allowing these things to happen, we have to take it to a higher level. And we have to educate ourselves on the issues we're fighting for. These local policies that we're trying to establish, like warning before you shoot, and they're already policies. They're just not being followed.
They're not being implemented.
All these things.
Things are not
The
being
police have
implemented.
these responsibilities. They're supposed to take on the brunt of that fear that you have in a situation with the police. If I reach in my pocket, he has to wait to see a gun. He can't shoot me and then find out it's a cell phone. And the only way to start to hold them accountable is to hold the country accountable, because this is a national crisis. This isn't a local crisis. We need uniform legislation to deal with this. It can't be Keisha going to put together her little whatever, and then the dude in Minnesota going to put together his little, it ain't going to be nothing like each other by the time they finish. It can't be. There has to be federal legislation. And so I've actually, with a couple of friends of mine, we've launched a nonprofit organization to first become a nonprofit and then become a PAC, so that we can submit legislation to these federal.
What's the name of it?
It's called the Black Civil Action Fund. So it's a fund and an organization. And some of the things that we're going after is federal legislation for the police. We think that there should be localized review boards, but once you fail that review, it should be in the hands of the feds.
Yeah.
Because it removes local police from policing themselves.
Right.
It removes them from colluding with their friends in the district attorney's office. It lets us know that no matter what happens, we're going to get a sentence we're comfortable with, because there are mandatory sentencing guidelines in the federal government. And it scares the shit out of them. That's the most important thing. It scares the hell out of them. And so if they know two things that I would recommend. One, life is, you have to get at least life.
Yeah.
Because that's part of your oath. You decided to go against your oath, not only to yourself and to us, but of the Constitution. We have a Fifth Amendment right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If you take our life unlawfully, you gotta go.
Yeah.
And secondly, the police department should have to pay restitution to the family.
Right.
If those two things are in place, this will not happen as often. It'll still happen, but it won't happen as often.
Yep.
Another legislation that we're interested in passing is legislation on marijuana federally, because the racial inequality is outrageous, and of the people locked up right now for marijuana charges are Hispanic or African American. 90% of the ownership in the legal marijuana space is white.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
So it just has to go.
Yeah.
It just has to go. And the last one, which is funny, somebody mentioned HBCUs. We have a program that we're trying to instate called Destination HBCU. And what we wanted, Destination HBCU, and what we want to do is start to encourage, starting with our basketball players, our top basketball players to choose HBCU.
That's good. That's
Not
good.
the football, because football is just too many. If we get 3 basketball players, we just saw what happened with Duke, even though Duke is Duke.
Yeah.
When those 1, 2, and 3 went to Duke, it was a media circus. Imagine if they went to Hampton.
Right.
Exactly.
That's real.
You know, we do that one time and it starts to become a trend. And now when those kids graduate, their friends are all black.
Yeah.
It's not the Maloofs representing them when they get to the NBA. It's the people that went to Hampton, Howard, Morehouse, Spelman. And so that's one of the ways that's not legal that we want to affect change in our community socioeconomically. And so again, the spirit of doing is going to be essential for everyone, whatever space you're in. Like they said, is where you do your work. But we have to be unified and organized around our causes as opposed to arguing and fighting with each other about minutia on the internet. That division is just not worth it. Like we're all upset about the same thing. How we address it, that's nobody's business. Like Bro said, he doesn't care what your gender is. How you deal with your rage about us being murdered in the streets is on you.
Yeah.
But everybody needs to deal with it in a way that helps us move forward towards the goals that we establish. And so establishing goals is going to be very important. I urge you to get online, go to the VCAfund.org, check out what we have going on, but don't just look at us. There's all kinds of things. There's the Atlanta Solidarity Fund. They're an actual bail fund that is doing the work. You know, they're going and bailing out protesters who are on those front lines doing what they need to do. But we also got to start holding police officers accountable because they're who are protesting.
Yep.
So if there's a 9 o'clock curfew, talk to those police officers at 8 o'clock. What y'all gonna do at 9 o'clock? Y'all gonna turn around and be a part of this protest, or you gonna start shooting? Because that's what we out here for. And if you're gonna start shooting, tell us, because we'll leave.
Yeah. That's all you gotta say.
Just say that. That's not. We don't want that smoke. But if you are as upset as we are about your colleagues, put your stuff down, turn around, and tell them they don't have to go home, and we're not going home either.
So my question is, do you think that it's important to still demand certain things from those local communities and those local sheriff departments and police departments? Is it, because, I mean, I can say Atlanta is huge, right? So I can say, well, we need to find solidarity with the police department, but how do we do that? Is that me going to a board meeting when they're talking about funding Atlanta PD $261 million? Like, how do we start as, without knowing that the language that needs to be used to have like these articulate conversations with these people in leadership? What do you think that where we should start with that?
I think it does start in being present. It 100% starts in being present in those meetings, in those rooms where we have votes and we have voices. You have to be there, even if you're not the voice that's being used.
Yeah. Just to
Designate one, and then be deep. You know, we showed them how deep we can be.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even get here because they was deep.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that's where it begins for sure, especially when you talk about your space education and when you're talking about elections. You know, election season gets people, but the problem is if you don't stay on them after the election, they're politicians, right? We know what a politician is for life.
That's real.
So, you know, that's the thing. If you're in those rooms, then after those rooms, we got to be as adamant about enforcing what we've been promised.
Yeah, I love that. Then Marty,
I was interested if anyone's ever heard of prison abolition. I know it's kind of like becoming circulated on Twitter, and so I'm not sure if like everyone is familiar with a prison abolitionist framework. But I also think that it's very important for Black people to start becoming invested in what abolition is. And so I say that because it seems as if the tension for Black people is trying to find a way to salvage the police, when there's not a moment that we can look back that's going to serve as evidence that we should do that. right? Like there's not a moment where we can look at police history and say that the police have stood on our side. So why would they do it tonight? Why would they do it tomorrow? And so looking into what prison abolition is, we're starting to see that police abolition is becoming a part of a lot of radical movements. We've begun to understand that the police are not here to protect many of us, or none of us in this room. And so I'm not sure, I'm not for certain at least, that I need the police to protect me when we're saying that the police are the very thing that makes me feel unsafe walking down the street. And I think that like really what scholars like Angela Davis do are they trace that genealogy, right? They trace how the prison is something that historically is modeled after the plantation. It's modeled after the ways in which we want to crucify those within particular, those who step outside of whatever the social order is, right? And so like what her work does, it says that like actually what prison reform is very ironic considering that it is a reform, right? Like before there was this idea of incarceration, there was execution, and we begin to develop the institution of the prison. And the prison hasn't stopped rape, it hasn't stopped crime, it hasn't stopped any of these societal issues that we say that we don't want here. And so we have to begin to critically interrogate what serviceability does the prison have if Black people are still dead, if Black women and Black trans women are still being raped, if we're still having all of these issues that we say that we don't want a part of our daily lives. It's time to, I think, really begin to ask these questions about, is the prison even worth reforming? What does it mean to reform the prison? I think Angela Davis also talks about rehabilitation. And so most of the time, these criminals who we've charged, they don't learn anything in the prison. It's not like someone who's committed these acts of violence have done the introspection and been able to receive the resources that they won't be able to commit them again. And most of the times, these criminals do perpetuate the same crimes when they leave out. They're not allowed to vote. They're not allowed to participate in civil society. And so then we ask ourselves, why do crime exist? Why do these things become rehearsed? And so I think that that's like really important. So I would definitely recommend reading Our Prisons Obsolete for anyone that's interested in prison abolition. I think it's a great introduction to that framework.
Can I add a little bit to that? On top of what he said, privatization of prisons.
Exactly.
I know that as to where we are. Like when that happened, they removed the GED programs and all those kind of programs from prison. And they're actually, I don't know if they'll ever get to a point. I agree. I would love to see a world where no prisons exist. But if you look at the prison system over in Sweden, it's amazing. It's amazing. Like people come out of there and you can do everything. First of all, you can do all those things. They get them to a point where they can be a productive member of society, and that's when your sentence is over.
Exactly.
And so, I think if we could even move towards that, like you said, it's about reform. It would look nothing like what we have now. You know that much at least. But privatized prisons, you didn't know what the arrangement was. They have to remain 95% full, or the state has to pay the private owner a fine. So that's a reason as well.
It's also very important to know that almost the last study that I saw, almost 80% of men in prison do not know how to read. This is trickling, it's literally trickling up into what our prison system is for. Let's take away education from the Black youth so that they can fill up these private prisons and make this money to do this slave labor. You know what I mean? So all of these issues all merge together for sure.
It was never meant for reformation. It
No.
was meant to keep us obedient.
Yep.
And in line. So that's the point to where they defunded so many systems in prison. They're not even allowed to have so many books. They even defunded the library.
Exactly.
So now they're not even allowed to even learn or educate themselves online. Just to read for fun.
That's crazy.
So we're gonna take these last few questions and then we're gonna dive into our last.
Y'all know each person in this room, the government get $10,000 for each head for sleeping. So I was locked up. I did time, bro. I'm talking about killers, gangsters, all that, bro. And these are some of the most smartest people I have ever met in my life. Educated. I mean, these people could go out, if we let them out of prison, it's a whole new society. That's why they locking them up. But I'm gonna tell y'all in this room, if y'all got family, me and him, my family is very close to his family. His dad's like my uncle. He calls home from prison. I know your pain, bro. So I heard pain in his voice when he called home from prison. His dad been in prison for 20 years, man. And sorry for not sending my greetings. It's my like. If y'all got family, bro, right now, y'all need to reach out to them. Because if y'all think it's real out here, just think about what's going on in the prisons and they can't leave. The viruses is going in the prison. So if y'all got family that's in prison, y'all got grudges against them, whatever it is, stop it, drop it, reach out to them, ask them what they need, bro, because they might even get nasty. Nothing, no treatment, nothing. So please, I just want everybody to really think about the people that's locked down for right or wrong. Reach out to them. If y'all got family members, reach out to them, ask them what they need. $10, $20 on their books is a whole lot. That's $1 million to them. So that's all I ask y'all, man. Reach out to them, real.
Y'all are getting to it.
Yeah,
we get down to the meat of it.
I learned a lot from this topic alone, so I'm just really grateful for everybody putting in their input. But just to tie everything in together, I really do feel like these conversations are the first step.
Yes,
but
necessary.
it is necessary to figure out our end goal.
Exactly.
So I know a lot of people are talking about like defunding the police and things like that. So I'm just wondering, how do we even go about that as well? But just to move forward, a lot of people have been saying, how can they help? But everybody plays a role. Like we were all been saying, people are protesting, people are signing petitions, people like us are having these discussions. People have been donating to small businesses and Black business owners as well. So I also wanted to talk to Ms. Mandupe to tell us how you've been taking action with your fund and your relief program.
Hi everyone. So before I start talking, I'm going to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself earlier. My name is Felicia McCoy, and I'm one of the co-founders of Atlanta Black Owned Relief Fund. What was it? The Atlanta Black Owned Relief Fund. Yeah.
So myself, Key, and a couple other women came together to create this fund to give back to our community, to Black communities that have been affected by the looting and the rioting. I understand a lot of people were kind of doubtful about it because they're like, you know, they have this, they'll be fine, they have insurance. You know, that's where a lot of negative things that we were getting. But at the end of the day, how can we help to give back to our community? That's our community, y'all. So I'm like, come on. Y'all just gonna sit down there with your Twitter fingers and keep saying the same thing, argue with each other? Like, no. We found something that we're gonna do to give back, so y'all can too. So that was the main reason why we created it. So our purpose is to restore, rebuild, and uplift, you know, our communities. That's the main gist of it. So it's called Atlanta Black Owned Business Relief Fund. So we have a lot of stuff for it. I'm just gonna give you my time.
Alright, so just piggybacking off of what was already said, we woke up one morning after seeing the rioting and the looting, and we said, okay, we already know how this narrative is going to go. They're going to say that we're destroying our community, that we're just out here acting a fool and we don't care about our spaces. And so we were just basically like, we got to do something. It was just a simple, we got to do something. We didn't think, oh, we got to call this person. We woke up, got a GoFundMe started, and just started broadcasting it. And I kid you not, within 3 days, we raised over $150K. And so with that, I would say we have to pool our finances. We've been doing what, 6 days? We've learned so much having to contact businesses, get in touch with, you know, other organizations, relief funds, you know, get in touch with content creators and artists and things like that who want to help. There are people who are out of the city of Atlanta that want to help us. So this is where we take our money, we create funds, we create nonprofits, and that's what we're actually working towards, creating a nonprofit to where we can funnel in money so that we can begin funding all of these initiatives. Because like was stated before, they understand finances, they understand money, they understand possession, they understand owning things. And we're going to have to also understand that for ourselves as well. So the focus was to help Black-owned businesses because, again, COVID happened, and a lot of those businesses did not get the help and support that they needed. A lot of them did not get a stimulus check. Right. And then when you're getting hit with the fact that the rioting and looting is going on, it is okay to destroy. But guess what? We are here to rebuild. Yep. We are here to support our community. And so the whole idea was like, absolutely destroy it, but you know what? We got our own back.
Yeah.
Let the voice be heard. Yeah. Everything, we're discussing education, and we're discussing, as far as rebuilding, it's going to be about our finances at the end of the day. Any one of you can start a GoFundMe. Any one of you can start a financial initiative and get people to donate money towards it and then fund that initiative. It starts there. That's how we can also start making the changes necessary to rebuild ourselves, become a community, because we need each other. Yep. And it doesn't matter what you do. What you do is valuable in any capacity. Create content. I was like, what can I do? Well, you can create art, but you can also say, hey, anyone who has the effort, who wants to pull together 5 or more people, it's a group of 5 women, and that's the other thing we wanted to express. Black women, Black men, we're Black, we have our back at the end of the day. So you can't spin this narrative that we don't care about each other, that we don't support each other. And so that is like the biggest thing that we were trying to push with this entire initiative, is that everyone can be a part of it, everyone can join. It has nothing to do with, anything other than that we're united by our skin color. Because when they see us out there, they're not concerned about anything else other than that. They see us for our skin color. That's it. And they see us as a threat and as a problem. And again, like I said, funding, that's a great way to let these people know, okay, well, you thought that you just destabilized us. You thought that you broke us down. You thought that, but we're taking all of our efforts and we're pouring them back in. Great point, Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. Like, look at how terrified and offended they were of that. Absolutely. And that's what we need. So that was the whole purpose of starting the Atlanta Black-owned Fund. We're looking at expanding to other cities. Yeah. Like literally, we had other cities reach out to us like, hey, how can we help? And we're like, okay, let's get on it. Yeah. There's no thinking about it. Like, let's do it. This needs to get done. Somebody has to get on it. And so, I don't know, like, it really caught us off guard. Again, we did not expect to receive so much love and support. But I'm hoping that is an example for everyone to know that you can do your part. You wake up, you have an idea, pull 2 or 3 people in and say, hey, can we get this going? Can this be an idea? And do it. And just do it, And we got you. Period. Period. So, thank you.
I just feel like that's the best way to go about it. Do it without thinking about it. Just go ahead and do it, because that's literally how we did this. Like, we were just like, hey, we need to get together and put this together. And we just went along with it. We was learning throughout the entire time, scrambling in days. So I feel like that's just the best way to do it. So.
And we didn't even think about it. Just like she said, people have our backs. Like when I tell you guys, we didn't come out of pocket for any of this, just because you guys and just other people just donated and supported. It was just like, wow. And it only takes that one person to step up and do something. Just how like everyone else steps up and start their businesses and corporations and everything, it just takes us to do it as well. So thank you for that.
For sure.
Bacon a mustard seed. That's all it is.
So we're gonna get down to our last topic, guys.
Wait. We also have a statement from Pura. Okay, so Pura Moore, she started the Buy Black ATL. So shout out to her. So she couldn't make it tonight because she's been pretty overwhelmed. So she sent us a statement, and it's a pretty similar story to you all. So I'm gonna go ahead and share it. Okay, she says, since the protest started in Atlanta last week, I, alongside my friend Janai Greer, have been fundraising for help to support the city. Initially, we started the fundraiser to help Black and brown businesses and employees in Atlanta that were impacted by the riots. However, the response was way beyond what we had imagined. We raised about $20,000 so far and have decided to extend assistance to businesses and families impacted by COVID-19 and other hardships as well. This has brought a lot more attention to Black Atlanta. And now we have our biggest audience yet. When I started the page in July of 2016, it was because I wanted to see a change after the shooting of Philando Castile and rapid gentrification in Atlanta. The page started as a means for promoting Black businesses and creatives in the city and offering informational resources to our followers. But since the fundraiser has started, Buy Black ATL's purpose has expanded. We went from assisting family businesses, community organizers, and parents that are just trying to feed their kids after losing work. I feel like we'll be able to make a real impact on these in need. So that was all she had to say.
Another example of someone just waking up one day, stepping up, and just deciding to do something, and it's all working out, just like that 20K. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely just want to end the conversation on buying Black, like just where we just see ourselves moving forward, And I feel like buying Black has been a topic like already, but now obviously it's just more prevalent of what's going on right now. But when I tell you guys, I want us to really do it this time. Like just the other day, we were setting up and we were just like, let's get some Chinese. Like Chinese sounds so good. And we were just like, wait, we need to buy Black. So it was just like, it took what, 2 seconds of effort just to change our minds and go to Harold's Kitchen down the street. We just decided to go to Harold's. Like it doesn't take that much to just change. And once we continue to do that, guess what? It will be the trend because whatever we say is fine. Whatever we say is the trend. Yeah. Oh, you got a telephone bag over there? I saw you, sis. Oh, that's fine. Like, you shop Prior Moss. Like, if we make it cool, that's the new thing. Because you guys know that we make everything cool. We started. It's our say. So if it's a thing where like, oh, you got, what food did you get? Oh, it wasn't Black owned though. I don't want it. Oh, what you wearing? It's not Black owned? Oh, it's okay. Like, if we just start going about it like that, I feel like it will be the normal. It will be the new change. So, do you guys want to speak on anything about buying Black?
I would just say it's a snowball effect. It's as simple as, and a lot of it boils down to awareness as well. So many people don't even know that there are so many different Black brands that you can support. You can get a Black-owned toothpaste, Black-owned deodorant, Black-owned cleanser, Black-owned everything.
Paper towels.
You know what I'm saying? So people, a lot of it boils back down to people not even being aware that it's out there. We have so much of an oversaturation of, European resources and things like that we feel like, even down to the hair products, we get upset because our hair doesn't conform to things that weren't even formulated by Black women, Black people who have our hair type. So it's as simple as, as our beauty regimens. We can change the whole structure of this and really refund and rebuild the foundation to keep this in-house. We can keep this in home. We can get and reach every single goal that we have. We can rebuild socioeconomically and everything, even down to the education. We can keep all of it Black. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of it is just being aware that these options are out there so we can actually, let people know to, create that snowball effect so all of us are spending our money Black to where we don't even have to look online for something. Yep. We go on Facebook, Instagram, we can see something. Yep. So it's just about being aware enough and just sharing those resources and just, honestly, just taking the energy and the effort to look for it. Because we are living in the social media generation. This is the microwave generation. Every single thing that we want, I can Google how to fix a carburetor in a vehicle and go to YouTube TV and fix my car in 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So everything is at our fingertips, so we just have to be proactive about actually wanting to make this change.
There's a website called WeBuyBlack.com, and it's like Amazon for Black people.
Let me find out. We got a Black
You
Amazon.
can get on there and sell your stuff too.
Okay.
Origin is Atlanta based.
Origin is Atlanta based. And
the Oprah app, right?
Yeah, I should know this app. There's a Oprah app. It's called something.
Eat Oprah.
Eat Oprah. Okay, we used that the other day because we're just like how we're gonna find our Black-owned restaurant. and it's an app called Eat Okra. I want everyone to download it. When I tell you, it put up everything already in our location, so it knows your location, and it knows if it has a delivery service. So once we chose Harold's, it was like DoorDash. So it's literally down to the T. So it's a really good app. It's the best app that I've seen as far as like looking up the Black-owned restaurants. So Eat Okra, guys, like it was really helpful for us.
You literally include.
Yep.
Yeah, so, okay, I just wanted to say buying black can honestly just be us supporting our friends. Like, there's already so many entrepreneurs here right now. Like, you have Kiana with Gentle, you have Susie with her online, you know, go to Sanctuary. Like, there's so many people in here that you can buy black from right now. So, you don't have to look far at all. Bree, you want to add?
Yeah, so I know, like, coming from a mom perspective, I know a lot of people in here are not moms, but so like a goal for me, not everybody can always buy things either, and like as J. Cole said, the only real revolution literally happens right inside of you. So like the most important thing that I think that we can do right now is also find financial freedom and focus on financial literacy. The reason why a lot of white businesses are able to skyrocket is because a lot of them are not in debt for one, and a lot of them have enough momentum to whether the economy goes up or down to stay in business because there isn't any debt holding them back from excelling. So I feel like if everyone in this room decided today that, well, you know what, I might actually decide to make a budget or get out of debt so that I can move and buy from black businesses, that might do us a lot more justice than having the mindset of just buying to buy. Because we also don't want to go into debt buying from other people, right?
Exactly.
That is counterproductive. So making sure that you are as financial literate as possible. Dave Ramsey is a good resource.
I actually teach financial literacy.
And actually piggybacking off of what you said, another black resource for financial literacy, the Budget Lisa. She's actually amazing. She's on YouTube. She has a lot of free resources on her website. And then another thing, I feel like just buying our staples from black people, that's an easy way to keep that going and constantly and consistently buy from black people. So your deodorant, your toothpaste, toilet paper, have something that you consistently buy, and then also like things like your presents, instead of just getting like an Amazon gift card and you think, oh, who do I know that I can buy from, and then you can get that gift. So that's just a way that you can make it a habit for you, just keeping those staples.
No, that's fact. It means more because my birthday's coming up, and if you guys just want to give me any black
my birthday was on Wednesday though.
Right,
mine was on Saturday.
And I came with gifts. But okay, thank you guys. Like this was really good.
So if we have any more closing remarks, if you guys would like to add anything else, okay, never mind. All right, all right. I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna do some closing remarks.
So I also think because we're all here, I know it was mentioned that like how privileged we are, like how educated we are. But I think we need to have a conversation as well later about political education. And yeah, most of us probably went to college, graduated from college, but also there are people in our communities who haven't, who have, if not better ideas than we do. But because they don't have, because they don't have the language that we have, it's like we don't listen to them. So it's like, they're talking about intersectionality too, but maybe they didn't use intersectionality to talk about it. So I think just spreading the conversation over more than just like the academy. There's other people too also across the social media.
That was another thing, like I know a lot, it's been like such a surge of people spreading so much information, and some people don't know how to digest it because they don't have the means or the resources to really articulate. You know, some people feel passionate about things, but they don't know how to necessarily verbalize that. So I think a big part of us moving forward is us practicing grace with each other, even though we might not be able to articulate that passion, it's still passion. So if we, actually break down these resources and let people know, like, it's okay if you might not know about X, Y, Z. That doesn't make you ignorant. We are all becoming aware in different, to different degrees. So just by being, open and transparent, like letting people be vulnerable, like, it's okay if you don't know about this. I'll send you a link, a video or something like that. So that's how we handle it.
Speaking of I actually have a final remark only because you just mentioned canceling, but we've been talking a lot about grace, guys. And when I tell you, I just need people on my timeline to just comment down just a little bit, like, okay, our white colleague may not have been super vocal, but we don't know what they are learning and transitioning to behind closed doors. So she comes back on a timeline now tweeting Black Lives Matter. Some of it, with some people, may be fake, but other people are really actually genuinely changing their minds. You know, they're genuinely unlearning. So we need to start noticing that, okay, it's okay that people are deciding to change. Basically is what I'm trying to say. And that's just with anything. A lot of this cancel culture and everything like that, again, watch out for the ones who are just doing it for a show, of course, but let's take into account for the people who are actually genuinely trying to unlearn and genuinely trying to change.
There are different degrees of ignorance. So there's people who are willfully ignorant, and there's people who have not had the means to educate themselves. Even though we do live in a technology age, a lot of people don't even have resources. Kids, people, grown adults don't even have resources too, you know, via the internet. So we actually put together a Google spreadsheet with the information that we collected here, that we've been collecting over time for you guys. So we're going to be dropping and sharing that Google Doc for you guys later on. But
I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you to y'all for putting this together. I noticed this week of sexual assault and everything, and black women, you know, everything that's going on. If you look around the room, you will notice, we can see a majority of, we can see a minority of, and then I appreciate all the black people out here specifically. That's it.
Just closing, like in the spirit of collective economics, can like all the people that are business owners can we go around and like plug our stuff, and also the people with funds, because definitely want to connect with both of y'all.
We're getting all of y'all
So yeah,
please don't be.
Please
keep going.
Let's keep the dollar.
I love that.
As the elder in the room, there we go. I want to say thank you all for the invitation, because it really is very warming to my soul, to my spirit, and to my heart to see all of you here, and it being a good balance of male and female, because many times we see the women are going to show up, especially now, because we are in the age of the feminine. And that is not to negate the masculine, but it's just the age that we're in. So, you know, I charge you each with being able to integrate your masculine and your feminine nature. It ain't got nothing to do with sexuality. It is about the masculine and feminine inside of yourself. But aside from that, I say thank you all for being open. Have conversations with your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, because they have information for you. And they need to do healing, their healing as well. And a lot of our healing and our parents' healing and grandparents' healing comes from the youth and their inquisition and their need to know. Thank you for being open to changing, unlearning and relearning, because that is something that is currently a new trend. It hasn't always been the trend, but make it trendy. Figure out whatever you don't know, figure it out. There's information to be retrieved. Remember to breathe. Remember to do your best not to get on that emotional roller coaster and fly off of that. Stay on it. Use your breath work to keep you balanced. Support each other. And as a Black-owned business, I will let you all know that my business would not be open if it wasn't for us. We do support each other.
Right.
We do support each other. So please change that narrative. Sometimes we are all that we got. The majority of the time, we're all that we have. So give thanks for your customers if you are an entrepreneur. Give thanks that you have people who are going to support you. You don't have to say buy Black. You really don't. All you have to do is support yourself. And in you supporting yourself and looking out for those who look like you, you will naturally do that. And like the sister said, all of your basic needs are covered. You just have to find it.
Yeah.
Black on deodorant, toothpaste, detergent, sheets, you name it. It's out there. So again, I thank you for having me. My daughter has some postcards. She's going to pass them around.
I would also like to say that my mom does counseling sessions at the shop. Sanctuary is located in the West End, but if you ever need to, like, you know, work through something or talk, like, she has a lot
Mental
of
health
wisdom.
is important.
Yes.
Especially as, you know, Black people, we go through so much on a collective basis.
So, yeah, Black resources there if you are interested.
All right, thank you guys.
We do offer services, counseling, readings, massage therapy, vaginal steaming for women, which is not advertised. But, well, it's not, well, that's a sidebar. But, holding space for our healing is what I do. And that is my mission, and that is what I enjoy doing. And actually, there is one other thing that I want to say that I'm going to let it go. Do things that make you happy. Do things that feel good. Follow the feel good. If you don't know what it is you want to do with your life, follow what feels good. Follow what comes easy. You're supposed to be happy. As people, that is our God-given right. Find your happy, flow with your happy, do what feels good, and continue to do what feels good, because when you send that energy of feel good out, energy follows itself. It's karmic. It's reciprocal. You send out shit, you gonna get shit back. You send out something that feels good, it's going to come back to you too. So follow the feel good, and that's.
Thank you.
Alright guys, this has been great. Like, I hope you all learned and gained something. You wanna say something?
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that, like, out of all of this, I mean, I know that, you know, we just kind of, like, did this last minute, and we're going to have more of these, by the way. But I just hope that, like, now we can look at our timelines and just kind of assess everything that's going on with a sense of direction. I feel like before, just going through these last 6 days, I was all over the place. I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know if I could post. I didn't really know. But now I feel like, you know, we can walk out of here saying like, all right, like we got this, you know? It's kind of together now. So I thank you guys for showing, coming up and coming out. And yeah, I'm gonna give it over to you, Yanni.
Just want to throw my 2 cents in, but I really appreciate you guys' willingness to be present and the transparency. It's been so, I feel like that's what the change is here with our generation. There's been so much, you know, breaking of boundaries and barriers within us talking to our elders. You know, I'm seeing so many older people being transparent and being, you know, letting us be, you know, present while they're vulnerable about what they may have been through. And a lot of what Ms. Reed was, you know, boils back down to breaking those generational curses, breaking those generational cycles, so we can move forward. A lot of times as Black women, Black people, just everybody, we have a difficulty with moving forward and actually, you know, moving past that stagnancy, because we don't, exactly, we want to stay grounded in what we are, you know, what the ideologies and the lifestyles that we're used to, because our family has been doing it. Everybody's been doing it for so long. So if you have that spirit and, you know, you feel like that, you feel ignited to move forward, you want to make a change, start at home. You can start within yourself, because that internal work shows, you know, it's such a good example to so many different people in your house. If you can't even, if you feel like your voice can't make a change on a community level, try on a familial level. Try to talk to your mother, family, anybody. Because you never know what that little bit of insight and perspective can do for you moving forward. So you guys coming here and just to be transparent, just to share your ideas, just to have these ears present, to want to be able to hear what we all have to say has just been so, just watching this entire idea blossom has just been amazing. So thank you guys for showing up and being present, donating, just being here. So just thank you.
With that was a good point. And I'm gonna just say one last thing. When you leave out of here, don't even go to Instagram and Twitter saying like, oh, this is a good talk. Go to your home, go to your friends, talk about it outside of social media. Like, you know, filling up the timeline is great, but let's just be real. We're cluttering up just too much and spending too much on social media. And I even find myself doing, I'm just like, I gotta get a speed out. Like I got something to say, like I have a message. And I'm just like, I could have said this to my homegirl sitting right here, who also needs to hear that same message, but I'm not talking to her. again, you know, we're in this pandemic, but bump all that. Like, we here now. Like, let's actually get out of here and get off of social media and actually have these conversations in real life, because what we go through is real life.
Yeah, we go back to word of mouth because that's how things used to happen.
That's how it used to happen.
The green books, everything, they used to let
Black
us know.
Panther, they just set it up. That's real. That's real.
I just want to say one thing off topic. I want people who are dealing with abuse to, off topic, to keep sharing your story, keep pushing. Me personally, too much information. I just recently told my story about my sexual abuse when I was a kid, and I kind of suppressed it, and my depression and everything. Like you said, somebody said earlier that depression was a good thing, and it made sense to me. I made my own body my own safe space, and I kind of reflected in hearing people's voices. Hearing you guys talk is such a beautiful thing because it enables the next person to keep talking. I make art, so as I make my art reflects the people, myself, and everything that I can change, and I can touch one person. It only takes one person. My goal in life is to touch one person. And if you do that, shit, you accomplished your goal. You did everything.
Yeah, that's real. Thank you, Melissa. I just wanted to shout out Willis real quick. He does make art. He's an artist. Please follow him at Willis the Lion. And he's been like one of the biggest donators here. So just give him another round of applause. Like, I
just want to say that if it wasn't for my sister and Eloise and Nicolette, I wouldn't be inspired to be here as much as I can be. Like during this whole quarantine, like I've been out of work, and I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all have been out of work too. If y'all not, then y'all but this has given me the opportunity to, like y'all said, do things that make me happy and do things for myself. And y'all are an inspiration for me to want to do more, not only for myself, but for the community, and work on healing and work on helping other people heal as well. Because during this time and the struggle and looking back on my life and, understanding the different struggles that I had to do to get to where I am, and do a lot of self-help and self-reflecting and watching a lot of y'all, because, I may not be an elder, but I'm older. I'm in my late 20s. So I try to explain to y'all why y'all in your early 20s, do it while you're younger. Don't wait until you're in your late 20s, early 30s to try to do something to make you happy. Do it while you're younger and do it while you have the time. And don't worry about what everybody else got to think about you. Do you. That's just what I gotta say. Do you, do y'all, and continue to love yourself and love one another when you leave this world.